Good evening to the fans of JACKOCAR and the Jackoverse. Welcome to Monte Carlo. You can tell I've not prepared an intro for this evening. It's been one of those days at work. But here we are in the daytime, believe it or not, at Monaco. Now, all the drivers were telling me they wanted to race at night. And I've put my foot down and I've said no, because my league, it's my name above the door. And yeah, what I say goes, basically. Tonight, we are joined by the one and only Owen Wyatt. How are you, Owen?
Not too bad, Jacko. You can tell you're starting to get old. You're against fun. Look at this, it's so boring in the daytime. The fans look disappointed. I'm disappointed. A lot of the drivers are disappointed because they can't see out of the tunnel, which confuses me actually because that is sort of realistic.
Well, this is it. I'm not against fun. It's a reminder that I am in charge. And secondly, if they can't see out the tunnel, that's going to be bloody amazing later on, isn't it? When you got 19 cars piling through the back end of the tunnel. And I very explicitly say 19 cars because a certain One Hub Racing owner who said, "Oh, I'm well keen on racing," just like all day has been like, "Oh yeah, I'm well up for it." And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I thought it started at 8. Useless, just like One Hub." And that owner is Nick Egan. It was meant to be his first start here since season 4. He had the first quali slot, and he didn't even want to show up. What do you think of that?
It is quite thorough, isn't it? But you know, on the plus side, at least Jess has showed up. So Jess is going to be flying the flag here for One Hub Racing. So respect to her for saving the One Hub name from
Useless.
What are we on about? This guy, come on.
Do you know what the worst bit is?
The thing is, we were going to bully his livery, going to bully him. Because the thing is, for a qualifying slot, you get to watch the guy for a whole lap. And since he's the first slot, the whole out lap. And I mean, I've battered him on track in One Hub this season. And now he's scared of me. And you. But mainly me, but you as well.
Mainly me, I'm bigger than you.
That's not what Twitter says.
Okay.
Or X, sorry.
That's Twitter. I even made like his name on the qualifying order purple just for him. I went through all that effort.
No, I saw that.
Instead, we're going to have put up with a sort of half-assed lap by Waze Cuba. He's already hit the thing that holds the tyre guns as he comes out the pit lane, and here he is then on track, the race winner from Tuesday night, a race win which I could have had if I didn't put it in the wall. But anyway, Waze won his second Kia race and advances to the playoffs. But his first race this season, and that makes it 10 race winners from 10 races this season across Cup and Kia. So great effort from those 10. That's me patting myself on the back, just like you are, Owen. But hopefully we get another new race winner this evening.
The thing is, I feel like I need to win another race this season because I've been too busy definitely not giving the ERT drivers free wins. But I need to win a 50% race. I've only won a 25% race this season. That doesn't really count the more I think about
Useless.
it. So, hold that thought. Once we get to the playoffs, then I don't have to give people... I'll win another race this season. But you know, Wes, he obviously has won this week. But in general, this season, I've noticed that he's been a lot quicker, hasn't he? Back to almost the olden days where you could see Wes and actually think he's got a chance of winning a race. And it's good to see that because, you know, he's a proper old school driver, isn't he? He's been here longer than anyone, pretty much, in terms of the league racing scene. And he's got the pace.
He's a day one driver. He's been a reserve ever since season 1 in the Cup Series. But at least he is now showing himself more regularly. It's great to see the commitment from Waze. He's committed there through turn 1 as well. And maybe, Gareth won't like this, but pushing towards a full-time seat. Who knows, should somebody drop out, Owen Wyatt. But we'll come back to that as we end of Sector 1 then for Waze. We'll finally go on board. I'm sure somebody will crash out and then we'll get the first sector on board, somebody else later on. But through the hairpin, slowest corner on the Formula 1 calendar. And I said it last season, that is the hotel I would have stayed in had British Airways not ruined my holiday plans. We go under the same hotel, the Fairmont. And this is the tunnel where everybody is having the glitch, supposedly. You can't see on the exit. Not too bad for us here, but maybe the driver's a little bit worse. Left, double right, then another left here. and now up to Ways' favourite part of the track, which he's been struggling with ever since he got the nod to race later on. The swimming pool chicane here is actually coincidentally my favourite bit of the track, but through there he goes a little bit loose on the exit, and then the final corner where not the final corner, but the final section where Michael Schumacher and Rosberg have had their controversial moments, but back on the main straight, if that's what you want to call it. And Ways will set the benchmark. He's kept it valid, a 1:12.1, a very respectable lap time as we move on to Ben Shaw, the first of two jokers this evening.
So we're expecting this time to be in the 109s for him, assuming this car in front of him doesn't block him, which he has. It's a bit of an unusual method, sitting on the racing line, but yes, indeed, the Joker, one of two Jokers tonight. First time he's been racing in, what, 4 weeks? Something like that?
4 weeks,
It's
yeah.
been a long time, but he is looking to win at a track which we always come to saying this is his favourite track, bar Portugal. It's, the track he'll always be very quick at, and it never has seemed to work out for him, has it? And today, with that little block in the tunnel, 109.8, I know Khalifa's quicker than him, I know Casper's potentially quicker than him, I think they're both right up there, because I was talking to them beforehand, so his main competition is Khalifa tonight, but look out for Casper as well.
Yeah, Corey actually topping the timesheets as well in time trial.
And Corey, of course, sorry.
The car
All the ERT lads. Aren't I out to cut some corners, but we'll see.
the car that Jamie Griffiths is the first retirement of the evening, so we'll move swiftly on to the car that blocked Ben Shaw, and that is Sullivan Lewis. Here he is, already started his lap, of course, but despite that little block, Ben actually set a very good lap time, but you can't help but feel he lost a couple temps with Risky here on the exit of the tunnel. But I wonder if Risky can do something and make up for it and put himself on pole. Not with that line, he won't. That's where Jamie Griffiths crashed. And it's
Big head on the wall.
Shall we? This is an exhilarating lap. We'll just let him do it on his own, actually, Owen. The rest of it, and you can admire.
That's a good idea.
You can just admire this on board, everybody. Look at that, beautiful.
Right then, should we find someone else?
Yeah,
to
let's
watch
move
now?
on. Let's go.
Just
that.
about survived.
That was rubbish. It is Jess.
Yes, who's running the purple colours, I'd say. She's had to move away, hasn't she, from the purple and yellow, because Codemasters quite blatantly stole her livery template. So she's gone to purple and blue now, which is it's a tidy look. I'm a fan of it. And we'll see if she's got any pace tonight. First appearance since the Championship 5, if I recall correctly, from last season.
Spot on.
Happy days. Look at me becoming Mr. Stats Man. This co-commentator job's easy. I can't believe you had so much trouble with it.
So easy. He didn't even open up the lobby until 10 minutes to 7.
Did we start on time,
useless.
yes or no?
Just about. We actually held a couple minutes back to see if the awful One Hub racing owner would join us, so he made us late. But JACKOCAR, as ever, on time. And Jess, speaking of times, goes P3 with a 1:13.9. Welcome back to the Cup Series for her. And also welcome back Leroy Hazelager, who missed last week, I believe. You're the stat man.
Yes.
I'm sure you can correct me.
I believe I replaced him, did I not?
Oh, yeah, actually, you may well have done, to be fair. But this is Leroy. Just like last season, he's hanging back a bit, sandbagging, let's say, as are the bottom 12 drivers in the current standings, that none of them want to go to the playoffs, because if you look at the names that are already there, Khalifa, Corey, Ben Harrett, Casper, big names, so everyone wants to go for the chase. But if you leave it too long, the chase is going to end up being more competitive. But this is Leroy, and he will go P2. Good lap, but a second off of Ben still, as we move on to the ERT driver without a win. Owen, you need to sort this one out next week when you return to the track.
Yep. This is Jordan, of course, and again, we know he's got pace. He always shows up, doesn't he, high up on the TT boards for most weeks, but it never seems to happen for him, so we'll see how he gets on today. Looked pretty committed, didn't it, for the last few corners? That should go P3 and does. 1.5 seconds off the pace for Jordan. We keep saying it, the win is coming. It has to be coming one day.
Of course
we just don't know when that day is, but I mean, theoretically this league could go on for forever. So I mean, he has to win at some point. But yeah, we'll see.
Jordan actually has the most race starts without a win in JACKOCAR. That's 96 now, including tonight's race. But it is Pete Knighton who holds the record for most races without a race win, or since his last win, and that would be 114. So yeah, both absolutely, my favourite word of the evening, useless. Here's Connor Byers then. No practice, as he said, coming into this. He thought Monaco was next week. Not like Connor to be a week behind. He's normally so far down in the standings, he's still racing at the previous track. But where can he go to... You like that, didn't you? Where can he go up the timesheets here in Monaco? P4 for now. He normally goes quite well around here. As we now look at Gareth, who, by the way, Owen, has conceded. I was in a party last week.
What?
Has conceded. He is no longer the fastest man in team speed.
That's a big statement, as he's running his throwback livery still. Throwback to when he was quick, I suppose. But I suppose that's a big move to make. But again, that could be just the dementia kicking in.
Yes. Although I hear from the man himself, he says, give it 9 months, he'll be the fastest in team speed again. So basically referring to when the new game is out.
Yeah.
Gareth might not be here in 9 months' time. You never know. But he comes up to the line. It's P5. He'll end up qualifying P13. I put money on it.
Well, the thing is, Gareth is famously, a massive defender of last year's game. So as a game, a lot of people struggle a lot with. So I suppose it might take a while just to get used to. But by the time he gets used to this game, which has proper grip, might end up down the order again. So I think he's listening off the excuses quite well, and yeah, keep an eye out for him. He'll probably end up quick again one day. You never know. We can say about MK Bourne as well. Of course, the race winner on last year's F1 game. So he's was it a calendar last season, wasn't it? Only a second,
yes.
Only a second win. It's been a good while since then, but we can at least say he's won a race after season 1, and we'll see how he gets on as he comes across the line. He'll be about 3 seconds off the pace. Well, 2.5. 7th place for him. So Monaco, maybe not his best track.
Best part of 3 seconds, wasn't it? Here's Yuri Hazelager. Is this the same livery he ran last week? I think it might be. It's very rare you see Yuri running white.
Yeah,
but it looks quite good. As he hits the wall on the exit of swimming pool there.
It's not an Alex Rossi livery, I can say that much.
I couldn't tell you.
And that's normally what he runs. Unless he's doing possibly that might be the Texas livery he ran. That might be what he's running. It might well be the throwback livery, actually.
I believe it is, yeah. And I've actually stood on the Indianapolis podium the same amount of times as Alex Rossi. Just FYI.
How many times is that?
Once.
Twice, mate. He won twice there.
Oh, don't correct me.
Sorry,
when I'm in my flow.
I feel like you've made this joke before and been corrected before.
I made a tweet about it, and by the way, we had the opportunity to go on board for the first sector for the first time since Waze's lap with Michael Okeke, the returning Michael Okeke, and you ruined it by correcting me. So
don't be wrong.
Brilliant. Well,
Yuri will agree with me. Yuri, you'll agree with me, won't you? You gotta call the guy out. You can't even slander a series properly.
Grow up, Owen.
See, shut up now.
This is the 109th race start for Michael Okeke, 2-time race winner and first start since that Championship 5 race. Dropped down to Kia this season, hoping to recover his form, but has not quite had the luck yet, although there were certainly promising signs in Qatar on Tuesday night where he was running P2 for a brief period of time behind me. Remember, I was winning that race until I crashed out. But Michael Okeke comes around the final corner and will head down to the line. Where can he go? It is P9 for now, so middle of the pack as we move on to Pete Knighton, ILR record holder for most stops in a single race and currently going round without a front wing. Yeah, that is the first of many, let me tell you. It won't be competitive, but we'll stay with him. P7 is not that bad, actually.
Yeah, he must have lost it at the end.
Yeah.
That's someone who sent it across the swimming pool chicane and just hoped for the best.
He went purple in Sector 2 with that game glitch and thought, I'm doing well here, and then just sent it. Oh, I will let you talk in a second, Owen, but Corey told me to shout out, hold on, the North Oxford Mini Boys. Hello to the North Oxford Mini Boys. Corey touches kids. So yeah, I'll let you finish the lap then.
It's hard to really follow on from that, but he's stuck a bit of gold on the car, which is always a bad sign. Especially since Jacko doesn't like people doing that. He told me not to do it for about a week. Oh, second fastest only for Corey. So he wasn't as committed through the Nouvelle Chicane as Ben was. I noticed he was a bit wide in the exit, and that might be why he's lost the time. Because we were expecting him to be up there as well. Especially since Iceman went out on a green track. But, well, second place isn't bad. I reckon he won't get beaten by many from there.
You're going to have to do radio comms for a minute whilst I get young Nick into the game here.
Well, let's discuss Ben Spurs then as he heads through to back. Ben having a better season than the other Ben, which is rare. I mean, ignore the fact that Iceman's missed loads of races, but it's good to see Ben hitting his stride. He won in Imola, of course, for the second season in a row, I believe, on his Joker, and since then he's been able to sort of cruise around nice and easily, but he has got the pace. We know he's got the pace. He's 5th in the championship on points and crosses the line to go 6th fastest here. You could have just went 5th, couldn't you? But no, you're 300ths off it, unfortunately for you. No, Arnold has invalidated his lap, the first driver to do so today.
Surely not.
Oh my goodness me.
That's not an Arnold thing to do.
Disaster. That is a disaster. Not the first time he's, messed up his qualifying lap, but at least he didn't bin it like he did in Spa last week out of the final corner. So maybe it is becoming an Arnold thing to do.
Oh, wow.
Khalifa, though, we're expecting this to be one of the fastest times of the evening, Jacko. Oh, look at the drifting. You can tell he's practiced.
When Nick has joined, by the way, when I was joined on board with Khalifa just then, his car was violently sideways, but I think it might have been a little bit of a connection issue. Here is Khalifa, though. Oh, also, Arnold, his best qualifying this season, only P6. And that's...
Oh, is invalid, Khalifa!
Contrary to the man who's been on pole. 4 times this man's been on pole this season, and he's ruined it. Absolutely ruined it.
So no pressure on you then, Casper.
We're going to go on board for the first sector.
That's what I'm saying. Let's get on it.
Up the hill, went into Casino Square. Lovely part of the world this. I was there this summer, in fact. Casper also having a fantastic season. One race win already in Silverstone. Can he get anywhere near Ben Shaw's time as we go past the Fairmont? Little lock-up into the hairpin. Down, round and under the highway, and then back under the Fairmont as you face the Mediterranean. Where can he go tonight? His best qualifying this season as high as only P3, so yet to put it on pole, but comfortably into the playoffs, so maybe he can take a little bit more of a risk as he locks up yet again. I got kicked out of a cafe on the marina here earlier this summer as well. I'll come back to that later on as we head towards the swimming pool chicane and then into the final grandstandy section. If you go up in the trees there, up above the top of your screen, it is awfully difficult to get up there because my back and legs were killing as we go round the final corner and under the gantry and towards the start finish line. Casper only P3, leaving us with one man to go. It's Jake O'Sullivan. Owen Wyatt, you're on board with Jake's second half of this lap.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of his first half of the lap. He's already about 6/10 off where Casper was for the first sector. Casper, once again, just like Corey, looked like he sent it too hard into the chicane at Nouvelle Chicane. So, unless Jake pulls out the best Sector 2 and Sector 3 I've ever seen, it's going to be Iceman. He's hit the wall, Jake. Keeps it valid, but that's not going to be the most ideal line. And Iceman, on his return, on his Joker, of course, Khalifa was the other Joker. I mean, he's the favourite to win this race because there's absolutely no way Jake's going to be anywhere near him. He might not even make the top 10 with this. Well, P6, maybe a little bit too much there for me, but the man who I've had a little bit of beef with the last 2 races, we're friends again now, it's fine. But I did hit him. We hit each other quite a lot, actually, in Japan. And
let them race.
and in Spa, and of course after the contact in Spa I proceeded to crash into my own teammate in Arnold and cause the first ever red flag in league racing. Will we see a second one tonight? I've heard rumblings in the chat that there's rain on the horizon. I don't know if it's for Collie or the race, but we're at the end of Collie. I don't see no rain, so maybe it's for the race. I might ask them again.
Hopefully it is the race. The most important thing that's come out of this is Gareth has his best qualifying of the season there in P10. And Ben Shaw, third out in qualifying this evening, puts it on pole. He heard that Khalifa had stolen his pole record in his absence. Khalifa, of course, sitting on 19. Ben Shaw moves back up to 18, so back within 1 is the pole record. But he's clear as well, 2/10 clear, the most committed lap we saw. He said earlier that he was going to be done by the early time slot, of course, with track evolution, but he's managed to hold on, and he held on to the entire field. Right behind him is Corey and Casper, and a shock, Hazelager in P4. The other one in P5, not so much of a shock because he is the better of the two. Only the 4 drivers within 1 second of Ben, and then the rest of them, starting with Jake, awful, absolutely awful. This one as well, and him, and him, and him, and then we don't even want to talk about the rest, do we, Owen? Especially this one at the bottom. Bloody hell.
We'll save it all for the race, shall we? But it's impressive that from Ben as well, because obviously going out nice and early. I know myself, because when I've been racing up in the earlier slots, it really is not the most grippy track out there. So for him to be able to stick it on pole and keep it there, unlike me, the last few weeks, I always end up sort of second or third by the time everyone else has come through. That is properly impressive to be able to do that, because especially on Monaco of all tracks, the grip is just simply not as high at the start of the session than it is at the end.
Yes, and by the way, I'm being corrected in chat by young Connor Byers. We actually have 3 jokers tonight, by the way.
Oh,
Connor being the third. How is it that I've missed 2 of them? I put Khalifa down, and then I missed Ben and Connor twice. Shocking, awful. It's because I have to do too much, Owen. You know, I could do with some hands around here. That's qualifying.
You're too busy stalking me. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, we needed a lobby,
and we got one.
And you were like, "I'll be there at 7." It's no good at 7, is it? We'll be bloody late, mush.
Right, hold on. Well, so holding. I'll explain my situation. I was in the middle of a game of FC24, and it was ending as he not only messaged me on Twitter, but then texted me on my phone. You know, why did I give my phone number? I don't know. And then he joins the party that I'm currently in with Khalifa and all the rest of the ERT blokes to make sure I'm alive. So, at the very least, he's persistent. And that's why he's forgotten a joker.
Yeah, and for just the small price of £10, I will leak Owen Wyatt's phone number. I'll give you the first 2 digits for free. It's 07. As the
to be fair, I'm looking at a girlfriend, mate. I'm looking at a girlfriend. Go for it.
Oh, fair play. I've got a girlfriend. This is the formation lap. Me and Owen fell out over this earlier.
To below Kieran's level. Do you know how sad that is?
At least yours is of age. Goodness sake. Me and Owen had a dispute earlier about the formation lap being on and off. On my screen it said off, but we are going round, so he wasn't lying to me.
I don't lie to you. I never lie to you.
Okay.
Anyway, we've got 20 drivers in. Shall we have a look at what Nick's running then? Because he's running his one hub livery from Sunday, so he's
what
not even.
Mess. Look at this.
He's not even gone for the the proper. Jess might as well just be the owner, you know what I mean? Because Nick did his week sabbatical, Jess took over and all the rest of it. She's shown up in purple, as you're supposed to do, as a representative of the One Hub Corporation. And Nick just sort of sucking up to Mercedes.
To be fair, Nick's a bit like me, he does what he wants, name above the door. The difference is he didn't name it Nick Hub Car, did he? Which I think is a great name, actually. Yeah. Look at him, last place. He'll finish there as well. Stage points. They come at the end of lap 10 and lap 20. Waze and Gareth had a collision. That's not first. MK Bourne also at the back. It's pizza, Monaco.
Pizza. Oh, not pizza.
Is
ice cream vans.
Ice cream.
It's not pizza van. Ice cream van.
Just off to the pizza man.
Yeah. Oh, listen, the pizza man was lit for me last night.
Was he?
Oh no, the ice cream truck's gone. Well.
Did you go out in a rage?
Yeah.
You've taken too long on my pizza. I can't do your accent anymore. What a great shame.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You always do it in Scottish, it's rubbish.
I'm better at Scottish, I must admit. Anyway, Owen, because you're here, do you want to do that thing that you say and then lead the first lap, and then I'll take over and do the rest of it?
Sounds like a good idea, Jacko. We've got 5 lights here at Monaco. It's Ben from Corey. If they'd ever get away, I always do all the build up. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing in Monaco. Looks like a decent enough start from Iceman. He does, though, have Casper. He's inside 3 wide already. Look at the 2 ERT drivers. They're pinching together. They know at least one of them's got to get through, but Iceman holds firm. And now it's Corey having a look on the inside. Surely he can't make that one work, but he has. Straight into the lead. Brilliant stuff. Iceman, of course, on the hard compound tires. He will end up struggling for the early stages. That's why it was so crucial to get through. But Corey commits it on the inside of Masney, straight into the lead of the race as they head through the Fairmont Hotel. And we've got a bit of side by side as well through the midfield. Looks like Connor and MK Bourne almost have the same livery on there. It'll be tricky to see who's who. And you can see as a front wing lost for Nick, so he made 2 places up, but has lost a front wing as we see into the wall and possibly out of the race. Not quite. MK Bourne, Iceman now down to 2nd place. Again, those hard compound tires. He is going to struggle for pace, and it's about whether Corey and Casper can sprint off now.
Look at the state of this lot back here. Gareth also with no front wing. Arnold cutting the corner. He won't get that one removed. And we see even further back, MK Bourne and Nick coming together. It's messy at the back, but at the front, Corey and Casper have got the job done. Remember, Casper, 2-time winner around here as Corey leads away on lap 1. Iceman, yes, on those hard tyres, but if he can keep that gap below the loss of a pit stop, what's that, about 19 seconds here, he is very much on course to win this race. Don't forget, your other jokers are Khalifa down in 14th and Connor Byers, who finds himself in 12th. But yeah, it's the ERT boys who certainly pinched Ben on the start there, didn't they? And both have got away with it. I don't know if they realised that one was either side of the other of Ben there, but they've managed to get away without damage, and now both ahead of him. So fantastic stuff then from ERT, and Yuri has retained P4 here. He won this race last season in the Kia Series, and his brother trails him in P5. Jake yet to make any inroads, but is behind good friend Ben Harrott, who both of these already in the playoffs.
So I'm keeping my eye on NK Bourne and Nick because, of course, they're waiting for the pit lane to open at the end of lap 3 for mandatory stops. They're able to hold on to the back of the pack, but obviously with no front wings on the car, it doesn't take much to have an accident at this stage. And so safety cars could still be a potential at some point in the early point in this race. What have you seen, Jacko?
I saw Risky hitting the wall and losing it through swimming pool there. Manages to just about keeping it facing the right way. Of course, those drivers without a front wing, they can, if they so wish, pit anyway, but of course it will not be mandatory unless you do it at the end of this lap onwards. You also cannot follow a safety car in, as we see Arnold all over the back of Risky. Don't forget, once upon a time, Arnold used to be Speed Arnold. A lot of people seem to forget that as he struggles behind his former teammate down in P15. But don't forget, last week he went from P19 all the way to P4 at his home track in Spa. What can he do here in Monaco this evening as Risky continues to hold him up, we believe, with a bit of damage on that blue and purple car?
Yes, and Khalifa being held a wee bit by Okeke. He got past Risky on the run towards turn 1. If he sees a car passing him, he will sort of back off a wee bit, so that'll give Arnold a bit of confidence. But these two, nowhere near where they're supposed to be in the pack. And knowing them both quite well, I have a feeling they'll be very, very annoyed at what's currently going on. But early days still. And you got to remember that Khalifa is, of course, on a joker, so he'll still be eyeing up a podium at least, as we see Jordan into the pits, getting rid of those hard compound tyres straight away. That's a bold strategy. Why would you start on there if you're going to get rid of them so quickly? I don't even see any front wing damage on there, so that's a curious strategic decision from him.
Very. I was looking for the same thing to see if he'd actually was going to take that front wing off, and he hasn't, so he's just used up a set of hards unnecessarily, and now goes on to the mediums. We do get our first pit stops of this evening. So 6 drivers. Is it 6? I can count. It is 6 drivers have now completed the first of their 2 stops. Remember, you cannot make your second one until after the completion of lap 20. So basically lap 21 onwards after the completion of stage 2. Jordan comes out P14, is the lead of the front runners.
Oh, he does go for it, and he's into the back there of his good friend. Oh, is he going to get into the way of Wace as well? He backed off on the way into the chicane, and he just crashes into Ben Spurs. Maybe he didn't expect him to break so early, but that was almost like they were playing games with each other.
And now he has wing damage and holding up ways, yeah. So I didn't know if it was Ben Harrett that lost the front wing. I joined it late, but Jake will pit.
With Jake. I think Jake's not going to be too happy with that one because it was so weird. It's like they were both slowing down together well before the corner. It's like they were playing games with each other, and one didn't know what the other was doing, and it just leads to the weirdest collision. But Jake, well, into the pits now. He'll be coming back out into the race, possibly behind Jordan. Well, he'll be well behind Jordan, won't he? New front wing, so that's good news for him, as he is on the back of Jamie Griffiths, of course, the highest of the drivers who have stopped so far. Bar Leroy, actually, I should say, he also did come in. And Jake and I getting a penalty on the way out. He's got to keep his head at this stage. Only that 5, a long way to go still.
Jake having one of those races. There was a point last week where he was all the way down in, I think, P16, wasn't he? And then somehow Jake doing Jake things ended up P3 in that race. And that's why he's still your points leader. He's 8 points clear of Casper, the man in P2. We will join the leaders. We've not seen much of him. But we should note that Ben Shaw is very much holding on to these guys. A little bit loose there, but is keep doing his job, basically. And he'll be loving the fact that Connor and Khalifa are down in P7 and 8. Also, note from Mr. Matt Rosamond, of course, taking a sabbatical from Kia Series after his last race in Qatar. He is saying that the drivers are complaining of tyre smoke hanging in the air, and that, unfortunately, is tough luck. This is JACKOCAR. Let them race.
Yes, it's going to be quite difficult to race in those conditions, by the signs of it, but something else the ERT guys were talking about before. It is really difficult to actually do anything about it. Luckily, it's a recurring glitch that we've seen before, so it's not like it's going to be someone they've never encountered. So they might be able to drive around it. As Casper, all over the back of Corey, we do have yellow flags and a VSC. Now that's for OKK, who's nosed it into the wall just before the Fairmont Hotel, and looks like it's going to say VSC for now, but we will keep our eye on it. Look out for pit stops, because Corey and Casper, they've got to get some sort of advantage, and they have a decent spot to come out in that bite, that 8th, 9th place. So I expect them both to pit, which they do. Iceman staying out because he has to on those hard compound tyres. Yuri, I also assume is going to pit. Anyone who's on the sauce really right now, it's a no-brainer if you can get away with it. And Leroy will not be enjoying this because he might end up falling behind some cars that he felt he was undercutting. Now, Casper has jumped Corey in the pit lane phase. That's a very weird one, and West has actually sped on the way into the pit lane. Possibly playing too much with the Delta. So, Casper then is going to be the main driver chasing down Iceman. And they've got through that whole pit stop phase with the VSC still out. So that does throw a little bit of doubt into it, because they will reel Iceman in, I reckon.
They will. It goes really quiet at the hairpin.
That's a big accident. Was that Corey? Yes, it was. On the restart, whole front wing is gone. And he just turned in way too early through the casino section. It's like he got on the throttle, didn't expect it to restart when it did. I was about to say he'd beaten Khalifa, one of the other Joker drivers, out. He's going to have to pit now.
Totally missed all of that. I'm very sorry for the energetic voice of Owen Wyatt there. If it scared you, it took me by surprise, because I was complaining at the lack of noise that you hear at the hairpin there. And then all of a sudden we hear Corey has lost his front wing. I was about to agree with you that Casper and Corey were going to reel Iceman in. The difference is that, of course, Iceman has track position, which is key to winning this race. But you would expect now Khalifa to catch up to the back of Casper, wouldn't you? And Connor, by the way, having a very good race in P5 and is going to follow Corey in. This will be for hard tyres.
I know, but I feel like he hit the wall on the way into the second part of the swimming pool chicane. I'm really hoping they're not stacking as well, are they? Are they?
No.
Drive-through. It's a drive-through. Okay, I didn't see how to drive-through. Okay, so that'll keep a Joker alive, but obviously puts him a little bit further back than he would like.
Not ideal.
Of course, he'll be still in the top 10. It's not the end of the world, but must be just for speeding on the VSC. I do expect Casper to pull away from Khalifa, actually, just because of the age of the tyres that he's running now, Khalifa. Those softs are not going to be feeling all that healthy. And Casper, I reckon he'll be feeling a lot more confident about his chances now than he was before that VSC. Especially with Corey now, not anywhere near him. He's got all this free road to himself.
Yeah, doesn't have to battle Corey. It's just a straight up fight. But of course, if Khalifa gets involved, that is by no means an easy feat, is it? Closest battle on track, by the way. Jake and Connor, yellow flags. Probably another front wing. It's another VSC, so Jake will have to let Connor back through.
Lucky he did that, because they were side by side and almost certainly about to have an airplane crash through the tunnel. That was good timing for that VSC.
They will be talking in the party. You know what still annoys me about Jake? What was he, 5 seasons into his career? And he still doesn't have a voice on share. And he doesn't know the rules. He knows the rules. He's a steward.
Man wrote a whole book at me at flipping Japan. I'm still salty about that.
Oh, did you two have like a coming together?
Yeah.
Please.
Once or twice.
Please tell me more. I love a bit of gossip.
Well, I apparently broke every rule in the book, was disrespectful to him and his family, and should be kicked from the league.
Well, that's not very nice then, is it? You shouldn't have done that. By the way, Jake and Connor side by side, but Connor lets him go. Both of these do have to make a stop. I guess that's a team order there, or a team play, however you want to look at it. But Jake,
it's race
P9,
fixing, isn't it? Race fixing.
P10. Oh, be quiet, you little ERT moaner. What else have we got going on? Jess gets past OKK. Sorry, Gareth, because I'm flicking past really fast. I know you don't like that, but I don't know how to use the other thing. Jess P18, OKK P19 coming out the pits, and this one up racing at the back. Who'd have thought it? Oh wait, it's P19. Never mind. Ben Shaw leads, but Casper has closed that gap, and Khalifa has actually lost time to Casper. Yori just happy to be here in P4, running his own race, being reeled in a little bit by Leroy, who has pitted, hasn't he? Let's confirm that. There he is. Although so's Yori, to be fair. Didn't see that one.
So Khalifa's tyres clearly are struggling. I mean, he's losing about a second a lap, and Casper's gaining about a second a lap on Iceman. So you can see the difference in the tyres as it stands. Of course, it's one thing catching, it's another thing passing, as Murray Walker always said. So Casper, he'll do the catching bit, but good luck finding anywhere to pass here. And, well, was it him who ran around with no front wing Season 4, trying to prove my point by not having anyone pass him? So he knows more than anyone, really. It's about your positioning more than anything. So Iceman, even though that gap's going down, I think he'll still feel relatively confident. It's whether his rustiness... Oh! As Casper hits the wall, don't do this to me. I'm trying to big you up at least a little bit. But his rustiness for not being here a few races, that could play a factor when he sees a quick ERT super driver coming up behind him. But we'll see.
Do they pay you to say this stuff out of interest?
They should, really, actually. They don't at the minute, but...
This is meant to be an unbiased place, but apparently not. Anyway, so if we're not being unbiased, let's talk about our favourite drivers. My personal favourite... I've got to think of one now. I hate all of them.
It's difficult, isn't it? You could talk about how good I've been this season, if you like.
Yeah, you've been fantastic, actually, winning the opener in Singapore. If only, Owen, you were full-time. But you know what? People have started kicking up, saying that you're too fast.
Well, I'm not exactly winning every race. I've only won one race.
No,
Ignore the fact I'm deliberately losing.
Well,
didn't say that.
Nice kick of the rear from Ben Shaw. But yeah, if you ignore the fact that you were on hards defending quite well from soft runners, we see Corey in the wall. Again.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Is that going to be a red flag? Potential for it.
It's certainly a safety car, I can tell you that much.
How's that not a red flag? And what I did last week was... I tell you what, I thought I'd lost my voice. I sure as hell haven't.
Ben Shaw pits.
Makes sense. Makes sense to do that. I can't even call it a flat. My house is going to be thinking I've died or something. You lot are giving me a lot to shout about. Arnold, of course, he'll be shouting as much as I am. Completely innocent bystander and all that, as was Waste. Luckily, they're at stage 2 yet. So, sadly, this pit stop on the safety car is going to be non-mandatory. Khalifa takes his Joker pit stop, and that will leave him still in P5, so he's very much back in the room. But yes, Arnold, Waste, both into Corey, who hit the wall once again, coming through the casino section. This time, didn't survive.
Yeah, interesting that Khalifa and Ben believe that the mediums can go to the end. Both of them were actually on different compounds before that, so they are in the same boat now. The other interesting one is Connor, who is still on those original medium tyres, and he's gone past the pit lane as well, so I don't know what he's planning, but it's our first safety car of the evening. We've had 2 VSCs, and somehow only lost 1 driver, but I've said it now. So, yeah, we'll stay tuned, basically. It's lap 12. There's pretty much 3/4 of this race still to go, and we're going to have a nice little reset in a minute.
Yeah, it's just a bit of housekeeping. I don't know if you mentioned it, but Iceman did get the stage point. Did you mention it?
I didn't mention it, but it was on my mind, and then I forgot about it, so thank you very much.
Yes.
Ben Shaw has both playoff points this evening, the pole and stage 1. Stage 2 comes to you at the end of lap 20. Also available is the fastest lap, most laps led, playoff point for second and third, and of course 5 points for a race winner, with an extra 5 points if you win on your Joker.
We can confirm then, based on what Corey's saying, that Connor is the entire fault of that accident. Can't repeat what he said because we'll get kicked off the internet for it, but
what's he said? I'll have a read. Is it in chat, presumably?
Yeah. Even Kieran's agreeing with this. Both of them are unhappy, and Kieran's not even here. He's too busy having a life, I suppose.
We can't repeat that.
No. So
I mean, I would laugh, but
I would also, but not on stream. We'll leave it for afterwards. As Corey probably gets ready to report him, I suppose, because he's not happy. Of course, his race started so well, didn't it? It's just, sadly, as we're used to seeing with Corey, every now and then he'll pull up a masterclass, and then there'll be weeks like this. But at least he's got his win already, so he will be in the playoffs still. But a race like that, you can't be doing that once we get to Vegas.
Yeah, his goal now is to purely pick up playoff points, because you think with the shorter regular season, only 2 races of the regular season remain after this one. He's out of contention for that regular season title. By the way, on a totally random note, my colleague, Mr. Scott Hayes, who races in the Kia series, is letting his friend drive his car, and, well, good luck. That's all I'll say about that. What is going on then, Owen Wyatt? Arnaud is P16. Let's look at the stops very quickly, everyone. Where are they? There they are. Arnaud. Not Arnaud. I don't know how I confused him, but Connor is the only one yet to stop. Joker's still alive.
I suppose that's the risk, isn't it, starting on the mediums, but why not just put the hards on? Because what's he going to do now? The pack hadn't even fully bunched up yet. There was still a chance to just pit. The pack are taking a very, very long time, actually, to pack up. It's very unusual, this. And I suppose in Monaco, the last thing you want to do is... They're under Delta, are they? Are they under Delta?
I don't know. Let's go on board with Nick here.
Oh, look at Arnaud. I'm looking at Arnaud, and he's cruising. You'd be rushing to catch up if... I think the games are running them under Delta. Now, there was an update to the game, wasn't there, that changed safety car behaviour to make it more realistic. Is that part of it?
I don't know. I can't say I'm that involved with the updates.
Because it's very unusual that this lot aren't... I mean, they're going for it now. Arnaud's now full pace, but he sure as hell wasn't. They've all
crossed the line now, though, haven't they? So
yeah.
Is that Nick on the lead lap?
I believe he is.
Must be. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine. He's on the lead lap.
Because, he definitely is. He was briefly lapped by Ben Shaw before that safety car, so he unlapped himself in that process, so he will get a chance at trying to achieve something in this race. Safety car coming in this lap. We have 19 runners of the 20 that started, and we are 14 laps in this race. As it stands, Ben Shaw and Corey have both led 5 laps. Casper will lead this lap as well. So 5, 5 and 4 respectively for the race leaders of this race. I'm going to very quickly read a message from Kaya. Remember, there was rain hinted by someone, unless they were joking. Thank you very much, Kaya, for that, who earlier in the chat said there was going to be a red flag. So let's cross our fingers as we go on board with Casper for the restart, and he's done it beautifully. Looking further behind Iceman has retained position over Yori. As we fall further back, Khalifa has dropped to P6. But it looks like they've all got away on the restart cleanly as we head up towards Casino, have they not?
The former fastest member of Team Speed has forgotten to take turn 1, unfortunately, so he's right at the back. And Iceman, he's definitely holding firm this time.
Oh, we're seeing Risky getting turned by Jamie Griffiths there. A little bit too aggressive, that one, maybe. But they all get away with it. They're all still with their front wings on. Sorry, Owen, you were saying?
Yeah, I was saying Iceman is all over Casper, definitely keeping him honest, and he'll be doing this the whole rest of the way until Casper's second stop. And this is going to be mega pressure. But what do you do if you're Casper? You're going to try and sprint off, but do you try and hold Iceman back into the Hasselagers, try and cause them to maybe have a go? It's all about strategy at this point, and as it stands, oh, Iceman, he's practically pushing Casper around the circuit. This is going to be tricky. This is a tricky situation. Luckily, Monaco, the one track you can just block like a maniac on.
Yeah, but you have to. Goodness, Ben Shaw, come on, man. Before that, I was going to say Ben Shaw actually looks the far more committed through around the whole track, doesn't he?
Well, that confirms it. My goodness, he sends it into turn 1. He's already on the back of him again as well. No, a bit of a pile-up. This might be a red flag. I'm going to keep saying it. 3 or 4 cars involved. Connor out
safety
of this
car.
race. Only a safety car because only 2 of the cars backwards are out, actually, which is remarkable. NK Bourne, no front wing. Arnaud, no front wing once again. We're not at the second stage point, so all these are still going to be non-mandatory. Pete, no front wing. Connor, out.
One Joker down, 2 remain, and they are currently P2 and P6 then.
Oh, and Nick's no front wing as well. He moved up to 11th, but sadly there's some damage on the way through. That's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, he'll run out of tyres before he gets to pit for the second stage. Yeah, it's great news for Ben and Khalifa, isn't it, with those mediums, both 4 laps old now, another safety car period, so they've done 1 lap of racing on them, so maybe the mediums was the perfect shout. It certainly looks that way. Both of them keeping their Jokers alive. Both of them on 1 stop. So nobody can make their second mandatories until lap 21. Keep that in mind. And of course, stage point lap 20. Most laps led now, clear, is Casper with 6.
And he'll need that respite, I think, will Casper, because that was a stressful restart. I mean, he could easily have ended up in the wall with how quick Ben was pushing him around. So he'll regroup and see if he can maybe have a less stressful restart. He nailed the restart itself, though, didn't he? I mean, he timed it perfectly. So he knows he can do that bit right. It's just about holding Iceman behind. Will he be straight in the pits on lap 21 is when you can make your set and stop, I think?
Yeah.
Possibly not. I wonder if he'll try and stick out as long as he can, go for some softs or something, but he's got a lot to think about here as he catches the safety car.
It's one of those rare occasions this season where there's an ERT driver without any support up front for a change, isn't it? His nearest buddy is down in P6, running his own race, of course.
Well, normally when we're racing, we have, 2 or 3 drivers will, band together and basically mirror what each other's doing, so you can move up together. It's not really a solo campaign most of the time, as you say. This is the first time really this season it's been ERT on their own at the front, because it's all planned very well indeed. I'm saying this because I make half the plans. So, it's a very well-oiled machine, but this time Casper is going to have to think for himself, possibly. Because I think Casper does sit in a party on his own, in all fairness. He likes to know what he's doing. But Khalifa, up there, he's obviously going to the end of the race, so he's hoping, possibly, that Casper does him a wee favour here. Next bit of front wing off Iceman's car, because that suddenly would put Khalifa in the box seat. Again, do not count him out of this race.
No, and of course you've got that mix of speed and ART in between the 2 leading ERT drivers there. Changing topic then, Owen. I don't know if you've listened to any of the Kia Series streams this season. Probably not, now that you've got a girlfriend.
I don't have a girlfriend.
You've got a mistress then. Okay, well...
I don't have a mistress.
Enough technicalities. Basically, Gareth and Yori, they do this thing where they watch a movie in the week.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they'll review it.
I have been watching. Not
Okay.
that closely, but I'm aware they do this. Oh,
OKK's out.
KK's in the wall.
That's
Wow.
That's a great shame for OKK. Anyway, I haven't watched a movie, and I assume you haven't either.
No.
But I thought what could be fun, whilst we're under safety car here, because there's nothing else to do, is I have an unopened can of Monster Energy Ultra Rosa here. Okay, I've never had this one.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to guess what my thoughts are going to be on it. It's a zero sugar one. But I want you to guess what I think of it out of 10 before I've had my first sip.
I'm going to go a solid 6. It's not really one of my favourites. But
Okay.
I am more of a Red Bull. I'm more of a Red Bull enjoyer, as is probably not a surprise.
Okay, well, let's try this then. This is me opening the can.
Yeah, nicely opened.
Thank you. It's the best can I've opened all day. So I will let you know in a couple of moments.
Shall I fill the air, or should we just
Yeah. I'm going to need more than one sip.
Okay. So, the safety car, luckily for Jacko's drinking habits, is staying out for one more lap, and Gareth is still actually not caught it yet. I'm going to have to assume he's been in the pits. He has indeed. So once he does catch the back of the pack, the safety car will be in, and it could well be a 2-lap shootout to the pit lane. That could be quite exciting, but if we get another safety car in the midst of that, it will actually slightly ruin some strategies, because some definitely did pit under the safety car before. I don't think the likes of Casper, Yuri, Leroy, luckily they were VSCs, but there will be one or two there who will have to stay out if we do go safety car again.
Thankfully, Owen, everybody has made at least one mandatory stop. We do know that much.
Yes.
Anyway.
It's just about when you do the second.
Yeah. It depends how much these guys value the stage point or not, doesn't it? That's what's going to make it interesting. But I've had a couple of sips of this Monster Energy here. What did you say, 6 out of 10?
I did, yes.
I'm going to agree with you. That is exactly what I think of it, 6 out of 10. It's zero sugar, so it's never going to be amazing. Very smooth to drink, but a little bit nothingy. Wouldn't
That's
have
what
it
I
again.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the Cup Series in Monaco is about to restart. Casper, I believe, now has led the most restarts this season. I'm not sure on the stats. I'm sure Gareth Hall will be able to provide that for us when he looks back for us in the Championship 5 build-up later on this season. But Casper certainly very good at the restarts, as we saw a few laps ago. What will he do this time as we go on board with the Finn? He goes earlier and has absolutely nailed it once again. Ben Shaw, can he retain position as Ben Harrott gets ahead of Leroy, and Leroy gets back through. Khalifa, front wing is gone on that number 6 car. That's going to ruin his chances. Is it front right end plate, I believe?
Front right, yeah.
Yep. And now he has Jake all over him, who now has a full front wing after the 2 safety car periods. But it's Casper who leads the way. We're going to go back on board with Ben Shaw. This, by the way, this lap, there will be a stage point as they go through the hairpin. Who wants it more? There's no point pitting this lap, so it is going to be a shootout all the way through. And Ben Shaw is sticking with Casper. He will know how valuable that playoff point is, because he is destined for the chase this season. Casper in the playoffs. That is the difference between these two. But Ben Shaw has played it tactically as he gets into the gearbox of Casper. Just 1/3 of a lap to go here, and then it'll be halfway through this race. Who is going to get the stage point? Casper has the most this season with 3. Ben Shaw doesn't even have 1 yet, but he's eyeing up a move, and the sensible head on him will surely mean he's going to have to concede this one, and Casper will go on to win the second stage here in Monaco. But, of course, the difference is he still has to make a pit stop, and Ben Shaw is in this for the long haul. 19 laps to go in Monaco.
I can't believe Casper's not putting this car in the wall. You can tell he's destined for a pit stop. There's another car off at turn 1. It's risky, and
through goes Ben!
Through. Fantastic stuff. Into the lead once again, and you'd expect him to sprint away now. And West, well, he's reversing back and forth. It's a little bit like Austin Powers. But it's not bringing out a safety car, crucially. And he will get away again, a long way from the back of the pack. But Iceman, my goodness, that was committed when he got that one done.
Sure was, and his Joker rival Khalifa still struggling on with that lack of front wing. He hasn't lost too much time, but of course it is Monaco, so it is a bit easier to keep up to the back of Ben Harrett here, who's actually struggling himself. He doesn't have any damage, but Khalifa is looking like he wants to get past all of a sudden as he hits the wall himself. And Jake's going to sniff an opportunity here, but there's no way through this time as he gets right into the back of Khalifa. A little nudge there once again. Those two come together the other week as well, didn't they? It's so good to see these drivers pushing the limits of the rules as we see Casper Pitt and Ben Shaw leads lap 21. The second set of pit stops can now happen as Jake falls back from Khalifa momentarily.
This is some fantastic racing, I've got to say. For Monaco, like, you wouldn't think you'd be able to get this much, but they are really giving us a show at the moment. Khalifa's doing well with his damage, not to have completely ruined his race yet, although I'm sure there'll be consequences later on. Is he going to try and stick it out for the rest of the race and just hope that he can do what he's doing right now and defend? Possibly, because there could be a second place in this for him. Pretty much, I mean, he doesn't, get swamped by anyone by the nature of the track. Because Jake doesn't look particularly confident, does he? To pass him as Pete indeed gets a penalty for crossing the pit lane exit line, which is a really silly once again. If he's getting a penalty for it, that means it's not even the first time in the race he's done it. So you would have thought after the warning he wouldn't have learnt his lesson, but sadly not. And it's a shame that for Pete, isn't he? He had such a strong start to the season. We were all sat there thinking, is he finally going to reclaim some form? And the answer is quite clearly no.
In fairness to him, it is Monaco, and he's historically never been very good around here. As Risky and Arnaud battling, by the way. Sorry, Mike Kelterborn, I should say. Leroy up into P2 have missed it, but there is a battle here for what is now P9. Risky holds on from the German as we see the likes of Jamie Griffiths and Nick Pitt to complete their strategies. And Risky running a little wide at turn 1, Sandevot.
Shall we not watch that and instead watch the fight that's still going on for 4th place now? Because as you said, they were catching Ben up, but they're now both right on them. And Jake's looking very, very, very impatient. And Jordan, who's been on those mediums a very, very long time, longest out of anyone actually, in fact, is also closing. And that tells you just how slow Ben and Khalifa have been.
Yes, absolutely. I thought he was going to say Jordan is chasing a victory here, because my mind just escaped me for a second there. But Jordan very much in this race, one of those that still has to make a pit stop though. So I was actually thinking at the playoff points, imagine if Ben Shaw wins this on his Joker. What will that do for him in the chase? 10 points clear, and that would be absolutely massive. Maybe. Oh, Ben Harrett, boring.
That is, isn't it?
So boring. Khalifa up to 4th.
Jordan as well. Jordan as well. That's to be fair, that's undercutting, isn't it? For both of them doing that, and now there's a yellow flag, although I don't really see why, because everyone is still moving at a regular pace. The game just wants to keep us on our toes. There's still a long way to go in this race, so there's still potential for more safety cars and red flags. And Yuri, just on that move from Leroy, it wasn't really a move more than it was just a yield, because what's the point in those two fighting the way they are? They're running a very strong 2nd and 3rd at the minute, which would be obviously not their best ever result. Imola a couple of seasons ago with their 1-2 will still be one of the great JACKOCAR moments, both on the hard compound tyres, but I think if they get a 2nd and a 3rd today, they'll be very much taking that, although Khalifa with his frontline damage might still have something to say about it. No, that is a car off, and it's Pete this time. How on earth has he got there? But he's going to have to reverse back on safely. Try not to get disqualified, try not to hit the wall, and you're back in the room. Very much a lap down, though, I would have thought by now. Is he? Oh, yeah,
he must be, yeah. Not Pete's greatest day in JACKOCAR. Having a season, one of his better seasons, though. Best result of P2, which he got in Saudi Arabia, but the 4 finished races he's had and 2 DNFs so far, so he has been here all season, but he looks like he's only be picking up a single point today, so a great shame for him, but he should maintain a playoff position as we head in towards the final 2 regular season races. Of course, next week Portugal, the week after of course we're back in Austria for the regular season finale. And of course we should mention as well, Owen, the club card shootout. Khalifa already advanced earlier today because Kyle isn't here, and the other battles going on do remind me, I'll remind you, don't worry, is Ben Harrott versus Yuri, and Yuri's winning that one. Jordan versus Pete, there's a clear winner there as we lose Ways from this one.
Oh, safety car, VSC, full safety car. The safety car is coming out. It says
Full
VSC on
car.
screen, but
Yeah,
I see
full
a safety car
car
coming out. Why is the game take so long to update that then? That's a weird one.
Ways at swimming pool, that's where he was struggling in practice. And the other
Why
one I
is it
should
doing
note,
that?
I don't know. By the way, Gareth versus Mike, and who's winning that one? It is Mike, just about.
No,
Sure.
this is going to give Iceman a chance to forgo his Joker. For
It
some
makes a
reason.
lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense in my mind.
I guess he knows what will happen on a restart if he's on old tires, but as you say, they're important points for the chase that he's deciding he doesn't want. Although I reckon he's quick enough to win it anyway. Unless, of course, I become a full-time
Should be.
driver. Like, seriously, if I become a full-time driver, he does that, I win the chase, he look like a right knob, wouldn't he? He will.
You know what? I was looking at the stats the other day. You have Owen Wyatt 13 playoff points, which puts you second in playoff points. So
Yeah.
you would be dominating the chase currently.
Yeah, so he actually, genuinely, I know I'm half joking here, but if someone does leave their seat, I'm assuming Jacko will probably be putting me in, right? So, Ben might want to think about that.
I'll have to speak to my people and see where we get.
It depends if they think I'm too fast, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting a lot of talk about, that sort of thing.
I mean, so's Khalifa and Ben and Jake in some races.
Yeah, I guess. Like I say, we'll speak to my people. At the moment, there's no spaces though, so.
Yeah, so not to worry about. Season 9 might be a problem.
As we see, Ben Shaw has let Pete go through. Pete's actually ghosted.
This would be a good chance to see if the safety car does let lap cars through properly, because it is meant to, isn't it? But will it? I think it is, because that's what has just happened now.
Stay on board,
Now, will
folks,
he-
because anything
will
could happen
he-
here.
Will he be able to get through? NK Bourne has stayed second, by the way, on softs. Is he going to pit, or is he going to go for glory and go for some wild overtake? So,
Pete.
okay, ignoring yellow flag, that tells me the game is not going to be letting him through. But at least he's on the lead.
He's going to get disqualified here. He'll get disqualified. Unless
Yeah.
the game has said you can go.
In which case, why is he being given a penalty for ignoring the yellow flag? But,
Because Owen, even though it's run by EA, it's Codemasters at the heart of this.
Yes, because there's no
Machine.
disqualification happening on my screen, so that is the game's...
So that has worked. Sort of.
Yeah, it's half worked. The thing
Right.
is, he
it's
is
a
actually
lifeline
still...
for Pete. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still in the race. Only a 5-second penalty. He might well, even if he makes enough of a gap, pit on this lap, but he might not catch the safety car by the end of the next lap. That's the issue.
Yeah. But who's to say that this is the last safety car?
Speaking of penalties, by the way, Khalifa did pick a 5-second penalty up while he was changing his front wing, which is going to really annoy him because that could have been a chance to get back into the race. He is on some nice, fresh, soft compound tyres, but that 5-second penalty, he will be possibly hoping for another safety car to get rid of that. Because speeding under the safety car into the pits, it's a rubbish way to lose.
Silly. Remember that happened to a certain Carl Smith a handful of years ago.
Yes.
And he lost a championship because of it.
It is very costly when it happens, so he'll be kicking himself on that one. Safety car, I will assume it's going to pit this lap, but possibly not, we'll see. It might actually want to let Pete catch all the way up, which would be fair for him.
Lifeline for Pete, isn't it?
I think it is actually going to stay out, so he will get his opportunity to catch the pack, which is not ideal when you're on the worst tyres, but at least you've got a chance.
And a chance is all you need.
Who has to pit them? Because it says 2 stops for everyone on there, but does anyone actually get to do their mandatory?
Hold
I
on.
don't believe so.
We will
Apart from
assume...
Risky, who's in.
Yeah, so that's a legal stop. We will assume that everybody is correct. Casper and Leroy certainly are.
Bar NK Bourne. NK
Yeah,
Bourne definitely isn't. He's already made 3 stops, ironically.
Yeah, he is the one I would say is not complete on strategy.
Well,
Jake?
yeah, we can...
Jake?
I think he has.
It says
He's
two
only,
stops. Yeah.
2 laps on his tyres. He's easy. Yeah, he's fine. He's sweet.
Gareth with 5 stops to his name, along
You'd
with
have to
Nick and Risky
assume.
and Pete.
Yeah.
Pete does pit, by the way.
Yeah, so he has done what I thought he would do and get off those tyres and get the penalty taken off that was unfairly given to him for no good reason. So he's putting on some not quite new mediums. Maybe the game won't let him catch up, but I'm guessing there will probably be another safety car at some point in this contest. As the track does glide over a little bit, and there was some
Oh, for goodness sake, man.
Some people just don't deserve a second chance, you know what I mean?
No, the safety car should have just come in, because that was an absolute waste of a lap we've had there. 11 to go here in Monaco.
What a disaster that was. There were rumblings about rain, but I'm guessing that was actually said for qualifying rather than a race, because if all these lot are on mediums and stuff, it suggests to me that they're not expecting it to rain. Although, possibly NK Bourne's sticking it out, maybe he is expecting it, but those tyres aren't going to have much life in them. Look out for another safety car coming from possibly his direction.
All the way from North Germany. Anyway, the third restart of this evening, this one being done by Ben Shaw after a 4-week break. Leaves it to the middle, and off he goes then. Nice and clean for Ben Shaw as we look further back at Yuri cutting the corner but getting away with it, and Jordan making moves on Jamie Griffiths. That was very nice and clean, as Pete is a long way behind but still in the race.
So Iceman predictably has just disappeared. So Leroy, you've got to make a move quickly, because this is practically like still being behind a safety car, isn't it? Look at him pushing NK1 round the corner. And there's a lot of side-by-side going on. We've got Arnold there on the inside of Jamie Griffiths, up into the top 10. And we'll be hopefully trying to keep his way back up through the field. 2 seconds, the gap at the front. That's just the difference in the tyres for you. And it's costing... and off through the corner goes NK Board to pick up a 3-second penalty. It's halting the Hasselager... both Hasselagers and Casper, of course, from getting themselves back up there. So Iceman, he'll be loving that restart, hoping NK Bourne will maybe stay for another lap or two, although I do suspect he might well just pit this time. No, he does stay. Happy days. The entertainment value that will come from this will be fantastic.
Of course, Mike, not one of the more popular drivers in the league, so I swear sometimes he does it just to keep that persona up. But it certainly adds to the league. I know he has a lot of enemies, but good to see him win last season, breaking that drought of, what was it, 80-odd races.
Look at that. Oh, big accident. Oh, my goodness. I don't know damn well there's damage now. Oh, my goodness. Another pile-up in this race. Surely this time it's a red flag. Finally, there we go. Red flag. We're down to just 12 cars, so I believe there was one that was a lap down. So I'm not entirely sure if they'll get to restart. We'll find out in a minute. But that crash took out 4 drivers. I'm not even going to attempt to figure out who they were. But it was Yuri on the inside of Jake, who'd passed him beautifully into Casino. Sounds similar to what happened to Corey earlier, except this time the pile-up was big enough to cause total chaos. And it means everyone gets to restart this race on a nice, fresh set of, I assume, soft compound tyres, assuming they have some, which means MK Bourne has a chance to win this race.
It's fell perfectly into his favour, hasn't it? And if my maths are correct,
all he has to do is send it into turn 1. It's a start from the grid. This is very exciting.
It's such an MK Bourne thing to do as well, isn't it? 2 weeks in a row, 2 red flags. Welcome to JACKOCAR.
Does this count then? This will count as a mandatory stop because they have stopped.
I guess it would as well, and they're going to begin on lap 32. Owen, this is your moment.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go race it again here in Monaco. And it's a very good start from Leroy straight up into second place. And there's a little bit of contact there with NK Bourne, who now has Casper going up through the inside. Contact further behind too, as Pete gets another penalty. And OKK, they're just listing off drivers here out of the race. We've got a bit more side-by-side up the hill. It's wide and with serious damage by the looks of it. MK Bourne slowing right down, letting everyone through. What's happening here? Khalifa, more front-wing damage for him today. And Arnaud trying to get his way through the pack, but for some reason MK Bourne's just so slow and he's being hit by everyone from everywhere. So Iceman a second clear at the front, Leroy second, Casper all over the back of him in third. All three of them, no penalties, no stops left to make. Right on the outside. Tricky to make that one stick, but surely Leroy doesn't make the corner. Doesn't quite. Oh, nearly has. Casper into the wall.
No damage.
Iceman away. Lets him well away.
And
Yellow
Jess is out of this one now.
Jess now. That could be a safety car. And maybe not, actually. Possibly we've run out of slots now.
Oh, Risky has a
front
puncture.
left puncture, yes. And that means, really, we're only down to 10 cars now here in contention. So, yeah, Monaco, maybe not a surprise. A race of absolute attrition. And Jordan, well, he's behind 4 cars here who all have penalties. And he's passing one of them now. And, oh my goodness, that was a tight squeeze up the hill. But Jordan, up into 7th place, there's definitely a P4 in this for him if he keeps his wits about him. Because Jake, the furthest car ahead of him, does have 6 seconds of penalties, I believe. And indeed he does. Khalifa has 5, Arnaud 3. So keep your eye on Jordan. A P4 definitely on the cards.
You never know, Owen. It could just be that day. 96 races in the Cup Series and yet to win a race. Jordan Lane. It could just happen because we've seen everything else so far as Jake gets another penalty. The front 2 drivers, by the way, have not won a race this season. So we are looking at 11 from 11 as it stands. But Casper, Jake, Khalifa have all won. Arnaud with a penalty, and then it's, of course, Jordan and Mike, who has now been passed by Gareth. So lap 33 here in Monaco. It's however many safety cars we've had as Iceman collecting what may well be the fastest lap, and it will be a playoff point to him as we get DRS. Monaco has delivered once again with all the drama. I've missed all the accidents, but it doesn't matter. If Owen was more committed, he would be doing this right now.
I can save my clip if you want.
Yeah, it'd be good for the tweets later on, and I can retweet you.
Well, there you go, I'll do that.
That's how technical savvy we are.
Yep.
The only depressing thing I'm noticing for Jordan here is he's on 10 lap old mediums. Did he forget to change those tyres in the red flag?
Could be. Although, of course, they'll still make it to the end just fine. There will be questions, I'm sure, in the chat whether MK Bourne that counts as a second manager stop. In my opinion, it does.
It does, yeah.
Actually made a second stop night anyway.
Well, when I went on holiday earlier this year with the Tennessee Shagger, we confirmed that a red flag pit stop or red flag tyre change is a pit stop.
Well, there we go then.
I'm sure we will get back to you.
Side there. Yeah. That was better than the last one. He's having too much fun out there. As we lose Pete now at the Fairmont Hotel, so he's been given so many chances. He's into the top 10 and he stacks it on his own. Oh dear.
Yeah. It's been a great day for Ben Short as he's looking at 5 to go here in Monte Carlo. Leroy chasing 2.1, 2.2 behind and just halting the charge from Casper and Jake. I'm sure there's a little bit of intention here to make sure that Ben gets away from it.
I think Khalifa is letting Jordan through, but Jordan didn't quite recognise it. I've just seen how much fuel. Obviously, all the safety cars are red flags. Jordan's running the flag with 16 extra laps of fuel in the car.
Amazing.
If there were some drivers out there who maybe strategised around the red flags, you could have whacked 5 or 6 laps off, or 16 laps off, in Jordan's case, and you could have been a lot quicker. I'm wondering if that will affect people's strategies in races going forward. It certainly caught my eye, because I mean the race leader's running around with 3.5 laps, Leroy 4 laps. You know, there's potential there for people to think about their strategy in the future. Casper's strategy is getting past Leroy, and can he do it running outside into turn 1? Almost certainly not. Leroy placing his car perfectly to defend, but he's going to be facing this pressure, you would have thought, until the checkered flag.
And this is the battle on track, nothing else happening. Gareth is close to Khalifa, who you imagine Khalifa will just let him go. But Casper, he is very much in contention for the regular season championship. And especially with no penalty, and Jake with penalties, he could close in on the reigning champion. So he needs to just play it sensibly here and think about the long game, because those 12 playoff points for being regular season champion are absolutely massive come the end of Austria. But like you say, Owen, he might just be getting a little bit impatient as Leroy makes a mistake and through goes Casper. He's made it easy for him. And of course, Jake will now be sniffing the opportunity. He saw that mistake from Leroy, and Casper, he did have his sensible head on. He waited and waited, and the mistake come. And now, can he go and hunt down 3 seconds in 3 laps on Iceman, who begins lap 37? It's free to go in Monaco.
That would be some ending, wouldn't it? We know Casper's got the pace. He's definitely one of the quicker drivers out there. Sadly, one of the quicker drivers he's raced in also happens to be Iceman. And the gloves might well have to come off in terms of just sending it for 3 flat-out laps. But
Leroy's struggling. Look at Leroy.
Gotta think about the points here, Leroy. There's no point here in fighting Jake when he's got so many penalties. And luckily, he's seen sense, hasn't he? Podium here would be a very good result for him.
The penalty situation is as that, well, as Risky picks up 9 seconds for Jake, so he's just got to stay in that window, does Leroy, and he's got a podium regardless. The gap, by the way, Casper has found 0.3 of a second in a lap, but it's not enough. It's down under 3 seconds now. Can he do the impossible here? As we're looking at just over 2 laps to go. Ben Shaw made a small error there. He had to hit the brakes a little bit harder. Is he starting to feel that pressure on his return as Casper finds another 0.3? He is doing enough. But it's going to be 2 laps to go in Monaco. Can Casper do it? 2.5 seconds. He has been the fastest driver all race, but he hasn't been able to show it because of the issues and the safety cars that we've had. But he is looking for a 3rd Monaco win in JACKOCAR. But Ben Shaw is looking for his 1st in JACKOCAR and a 1st win in the league for 8 races, something that he hasn't done for, well, quite some months now. It seems like a long time since Ben Shaw won, hasn't it?
It does indeed. In terms of the warnings front, Ben has got none. Casper has 2. And that means that Iceman can, try his luck at a few of the chicanes on these last 2 laps if it does start to get a bit uncomfortable up front. Oh, nearly into the wall there. That's not the sort of chance I'm asking you to take, my friend. That's going to cost him a few tenths. But my point is, you can cut a corner or 2 and get away with it if Casper gets too close. And I know people always turn around and say, that's really bad to do that. Why would you do that? Well, everyone else has done it throughout the race. Why not save them to the end? As he power slides his way around, and we'll another car in trouble. It's MK Bourne reversing around the Fairmont Hotel as we start the final lap of the Monaco Grand Prix, Jacko.
Yeah, 1 to go here in Monaco, not sponsored by Credit One Bank. I wish it was, because then I'd have a bigger budget for the Championship 5, which we all know and love. Casper has that gap down to 1.5 seconds as we head through Casino Square here in Monte Carlo. That's the end of Sector 1. 2 sectors to go, Ben Shaw. He has kept the gap at 1.5 seconds as we look at the main entrance of the Fairmont Hotel. Casper has done so well to close that gap down in such a little amount of time as we go around and under the Fairmont Hotel this time. Mediterranean on your left, car park on your right. Ben Shaw, the pressure is getting to him because that gap is coming down. Will it be a late lunge from Casper? A bump and run move later in this lap. Don't hit that wall, Ben Shaw. You could find yourself with a massive 5 playoff points, which you can take to the chase. Into the swimming pool chicane he comes, being hunted by Casper, who now is 1 second away, just under a second in fact, and into the final complex of corners. Ben Shaw, is he going to get it done? He's just got to get it straightened up here, and it looks like it's going to be 11 from 11 in JACKOCAR and 7 from 7 in the Cup Series. Ben Shaw wins in Monaco. Jacko gets his wish of another new race winner this season, and Casper with a hearty second. Great fight from him at the end. Leroy on the podium for the 2nd time this season, and Jake for the 1st time in 5 races misses out. Jordan with a top 5. Arnaud P20 to P6 this time. Great job. If only he could qualify well, he may just be in that fight. Gareth 7th, Khalifa 8th, MK Bourne will finish 8th. 9th, he's been lapped, and Risky is P10.
All out of the race goes MK Bourne, that's probably the better way.
So that means Risky is P9 then?
Well, I mean, he'd still be classified, wouldn't he?
Did he cross the line?
No. But in real F1, it'd still count. I know it's not real F1.
This isn't real F1, my son.
Well, that's going to be a difficult conversation.
Yeah.
So that means only 9 finishes then in Monaco, and only 8 of them on the lead lap, despite the fact that was realistically only like an 8 lap long race. But somehow you lose a lap and all that risky. I suppose the puncture didn't help, did it? But Iceman winning then pretty comfortably, I think it was in the end. He had that gap under control, didn't he? And Casper, he'll be frustrated not to have won the race, but I'm sure once you tell him all the statistics about how this is fantastic, having 11 different winners in the first 11 races across both tiers, he might be okay with it. And Leroy, a strong podium for him. I believe he'll be happy enough of that. Former fast member of Team Speed, Gareth Hall, was having a good fight with Khalifa on the last lap. Khalifa will be disappointed with that race. I'll go for the rest as well. Jake 4th, Jordan 5th, Arnold 6th. Good recovery from 19th once again from the back of the grid. If only he could qualify at the front. And that's it. Gareth, Khalifa, NK Bourne had a horror show considering he was given a golden chance to at least get a podium. Risky. I mean, he must have got damage on that restart or something happened to his floor. Risky in 10th, although if Jakku's rules applied, and MK Bourne's actually not classified, so they can ignore that. And so that means Pete would end up, not classified as well. That would mean MK Bourne, Pete, Jess, Ben, Hara, Yuri, Jimmy, Griffiths, Nick, Wes, OKK, Connor, and Corey all do not finish.
Rubbish. Ben Shaw collects 9 playoff points today. That's the race win. The most laps led, the fastest laps, stage 1, and the pole position. Welcome back then, Ben Shaw, to JACKOCAR after your sabbatical. Fantastic result for him. And the big one for us, Owen. 7 from 7, 11 from 11 across the whole league. JACKOCAR, nobody does it quite like us.
I can't believe it. In terms of Monaco races, it's not quite on season 4's level, but my goodness, that was mental.
Absolutely brilliant stuff from these guys, and let's go straight into it. It'll be Portimao next week, so the king of Portimao returns as the most recent race winner, Ben Shaw. Can he go 2 in a row, or will we get another new race winner? Pete Knighton, we're looking at you as the next man to win a race, aren't we, Owen? Yes? No?
No, but I mean, if we...
It would be brilliant for the fans.
If we have to... I mean, well, we don't know if I'm racing, I suppose, next week. If I'm racing, I feel like I've got a genuinely good chance of winning at Port. And I suppose I would say that I'm quick everywhere, by the looks of it.
Oh, nice and modest of you.
Well, no, I'm looking realistically though here. I've been quick most races, and Portugal is my favourite track on the game outside of Japan. So I reckon it'll be a good race for me anyway if I'm racing. And I think if Ben is really the king of Portimao, we could see quite the duel. We might have to crash out or something to get someone else to win. I'm getting good at that bit now.
Yes, you are. But anyway, so yeah, do join us next week for Portimao, and also join us on Tuesday in the Kia Series for what I believe will be Abu Dhabi Round 5. Oh, that sounds like a joyous occasion, doesn't it? Good night, everyone.